Okay, so welcome. Good to see you all to this presentation of the Engineers Without Borders assignment distillation system for producing wood vinegar. So Engineers Without Borders have an ongoing collaboration with the Strømme Foundation. And this assignment has been a part of their project LCAP, that stands for Enhanced Livelihoods Through Commercial Agricultural Production. And for this assignment, we recruited the two volunteer engineers that you can all see, hopefully, Jan Olav and Shara, whom you'll hear from shortly. They were tasked with designing and constructing a wood vinegar distillation system that can also be built with local resources and by the target group. In October, they traveled to Singida in Tanzania, where they constructed a wood vinegar distillation system and also conducted the training on building and use of the system. I'd like to introduce Alunas, whom we have here with us. She is the country director of Strømme Foundation Tanzania office, and she will first give us a brief overview of the LCAP project. And then afterwards, the two volunteer engineers will dive into their assignment and present their work. And everyone, please keep yourself on mute during the presentation. And then at the end, we will have time for questions and answers and discussions as applicable. And with that, I will give the word to Alunas.
Okay, thank you very much, Marianne. Good evening, good afternoon, colleagues. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. If you manage to put the camera on as well, that's it's always nice to see who speaks.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, great.
Okay, that's great. Okay. Before I proceed, a point of correction. My name, yes, you pronounced my name very well. My name is Alunas Maxwell. But I'm not the country director. We have a country director. His name is Victor. I am the coordinator for the LCAP project. So I'm the project coordinator. Okay. I have been given a few minutes to take us through an overview of the LCAP project for new colleagues. I understand most of us, the likes of Gibson, the Ivors, are very conversant with what LCAP project is, what it entails, and stuff. So very briefly, because for today's session, we want to dig deep on the assignment that was given to engineers and ask questions that will help us as we now plan to cascade it at district levels. So I will spend less than 5 minutes, I guess. So as Marianne mentioned, LCAP project is Enhanced Livelihood through Commercial Agriculture Productivity Project, which is implemented in Singida region, mainly in 3 districts of Iramba, Manyoni, and Ikungi. The project uses the holistic approach. That means it's an agricultural project where you start from the farm to the market. And in between, a lot of interventions are carried, including training on climate smart agriculture practices that are aimed at improving the quality and quantity of yields. And we are targeting mainly 4 value chains, that is maize, sunflower, sorghum, and pigeon peas. The target population is 6,000 farmers. And as I'm speaking, we have reached 3,500 farmers. So we have divided the project into 2 phases. So for the first phase, we call it cohort 1, where we started with 120 groups, entailing that number. And for the second cohort, which will also have 120 groups, we are planning to onboard them in March 2024. So to make a total of 6,000 farmers. So the project is implemented in a consortium approach where we have partners from Norway, including the Engineers Without Borders, the NGI, the Norwegian University of Life Sciences and MBU, and Strømme Foundation being the lead, which is implementing this through SEMA. SEMA is Sustainable Environment Management Action. It's an NGO based in Singida. So To attain the goal mentioned above, we have two main outcome areas. And the first one, as I mentioned, is to improve productivity for the 4 value chains, as I've mentioned. So through this, the key outputs is first to improve extension services. So how do we do this? It's through the use of digital platform, but also establishing the approach like using the lead farmers approach. The aim is to bring the extension services close to smallholder farmers in the region. But also we enhance the adoption on the CSA practices, including the use of biochar and wood vinegar, but also improve household food security and nutrition. So we do a number of sensitization meetings and awareness creation sessions to enhance adoption of these best practices. The other outcome is to support smallholder farmers to increase access to market linkages. So we support the formation of the so-called AMCOS, Agricultural Marketing Cooperative Societies, which aim to improve farmers' bargaining power, but also be in a position to sell their produce collectively. The other aspects of the projects is job creation. This is very key. So in each intervention that we do, we ensure that we note the number of jobs created. So from production to prevention of post-harvest loss, processing, value addition, marketing, and stuff. In the whole process, we note the number of jobs created, especially for youth and women. But also we have the other key aspects of the project, which is waste management. As we know, we promote climate smart. So there's no way you can promote climate smart agriculture if you are not being cognizant of the environment management. So in this, under waste management, we are promoting the solicitation of waste, especially for organic waste, where we promote farmers, they use these organic wastes for production of biochar, but also for plastic wastes, where we have partners whom will be in a position to support us on recycling. So in that way, we conserve the environment, but also we create jobs for youth as they recycle these plastic wastes. Well, any project has challenges. So if I may mention a few challenges for this project, the first one, since it's an agricultural project, is pest and disease. So it's one thing that it brought like, what do I say? It made us think of having something organic that is easy to make, but that can be produced by farmers, that can be easily adopted by farmers to help them combat this challenge. For instance, last season in our data, we have very little to report on sorghum and pigeon peas because these are the new value chains in the region. So they were highly invaded by pests, and so the yields were very low. It's our hope that with the use of wood vinegar that we have produced so far, as I'm speaking, we have about 35 liters of wood vinegar. It will help to increase, to combat to prevent the pests and hence improve productivity of these two value chains. It doesn't mean that the other two value chains, the maize and sunflower, are not invaded, but at least because they're common in the region, so farmers are aware of the pesticides that are used. But we still want to promote the use of these organic because they help to conserve the environment and their health as well, unlike using the chemical pests. But also there is challenges in adoption of these new value chains. So a lot is being done to promote, especially pigeon peas, because pigeon peas, apart from being very useful for nutrition purposes, but also it's very key for production of the raw material for production of biochar. We are using other materials like sunflower stalks, but pigeon peas, given it's hard, but also it has this nitrogen component, so it's very useful. Like the mass produced when we use pigeon pea stalks to make biochar is high as compared to when you use other organic materials. The other challenge is the dependence syndrome. So dependence syndrome, it really threatened the sustainability of the project. We are using the FFS approach, Farm Field School approach, where we have demonstration plots, where we are going to use all these things that we produce, the biochar, the wood vinegar, and the improved seeds that we have procured. So end of the day, it's our hope that these groups will be in a position to recycle these seeds and continue or sustain these demonstration plots for continuity learning in collaboration or under support of the government. But this is not very promising. So we are still struggling to make it happen by conducting advocacy meetings with government counterparts and see how best they can take this. The other challenge that we encountered along the project is that in some areas they were in the midst of the project, we come to identify that in some areas the soil were not arable for the value chains that we introduced, especially this is happening in Manyoni. So as I'm speaking, we have made a decision to drop some of the wards, and these will now be supported as an exit strategy. We will leave these groups and support them with paddy seeds, because these areas seem to be performing well in paddy production because they're very alkaline and they're swampy areas, so they're not good for maize and these other value chains that we're supporting. So in a nutshell, that's an LCAP project. And as I'm speaking, a lot has been done. As I've mentioned, the farmers have mentioned that we have made those 3,500 something. They've been capacitated on climate smart agriculture practices, biochar making. And this December, before end of December, we are planning to cascade the proper use of herbicides, as well as installation of other wood vinegar distillation plants in these 3 districts. So as I'm speaking right now, it's a planting season in Singida. Project officers are busy in the field supervising the planting of seeds and making sure that all practices that we trained are well aligned in our demonstration plots, so that next year we're in a good position to tell the difference between our demonstration plots and the farmers' fields that were not planted according to our practices, so that at least we get something to showcase to them for easy adoption. Seeing is believing to many farmers. So we believe if they see our demos performing well, it will be very easy for them to adopt and take it to their own fields. In a nutshell, that's LCAP. Thank you, and over to you, Marianne.
Great. Thank you so much, Alunas, for a very, very good overview. We're looking forward to following the project further as well. So now let's dive into the production of wood vinegar. So I give the word to Jan Olav and Sarah. Take it away.
Thank you.
Just a second. Sorry. Can you all?
Yes.
Can you all see? Yeah. Yes. So.
Do you want to start, Jan Olav, or should I?
Hello, I'm Jan Olav. And we are going to take you through a little bit of the assignment we had, and a little bit of what we actually made, and the training we performed.
Yes, and I'm Sarah, a petroleum engineer by background. I'm still working as a petroleum engineer, but yeah. Yes, we can move on, Jan Olav. So yeah, let's start with the agenda first. We started with the introduction. Adonis took us through the assignment, and then we'll go further to the preparation before going to Singida and while being in Singida and afterwards. Then we'll have a technical review and how we designed it. We'll also go through the results, and then we'll go through success factors and improvements. And then a big thank you to those who have helped us. And at last, we'll have some time for question and answers. Yes, we can go to the next one. So before going to Singida, we started with a theoretical preparation. We watched lots of YouTube videos and looked at the internet for manuals and how we can build this distillery system. And also IUG, they have expert groups within different disciplines. So we had a good chat with both Marianne and Petter, who helped us with designing, thinking, and just discussing how we can do this, how we can be prepared before going. And also we asked the team in Singida to prepare the equipment that we thought we needed before going to Singida. Furthermore, when we arrived to Singida, me and Jan Olav, we sat down, we discussed, we started drawing, make drawings, and made a plan, daily plan for what we wanted to achieve every day, how much we wanted to produce, or how much we thought we could produce. And at last, we had a workshop with the local team where we went through the whole process. We showed them videos. We had a chat discussion on how we thought we could do this most efficiently. And then we had a technical preparation. As I mentioned, we had the equipment ready by SEMA before arriving. And the team, they were really helpful, helping with building, cutting, welding, and since we didn't have all the equipment, we had to improvise and find things in the area where we were building this. So this was the technical preparation. Do you want to add anything, Jan Olav, or?
Yes, we also had a separate session on health and safety, and we brought some health and some safety and protection equipment that we thought could be useful, and SEMA also procured some good equipment, and we tried together with the staff to find what equipment was suitable and what was strictly necessary and what could maybe be was not that necessary to use in that context. At least to try to create an awareness of the health and safety issues while working on this. Yeah. Okay. I thought I would take you through the actual construction. We will also show you a video later that gives you an impression of how we were working and hopefully the atmosphere. So the main goal of this design process and technical construction process was to make it simple and robust. So the actual material we needed, it should ideally be possible to get anywhere in the world. We did not want to use any special customized tanks or equipment. And so the main component of this distillery system is an empty barrel. That is the sometimes later in the report it's referred to as a kiln. So it's a combustion chamber, or actually a pyrolysis chamber, or a kiln. So we took an empty barrel and we cut off one of the sides, and we made an opening, which is actually the gas and heat inlet of the chamber. According to what you see here, this is not exact science in any way. The most important is that we get the correct flow of heat and the correct flow of gases. So it's not critical if it's 18 centimeters and so on. And the design should be we should be able to make the design without any specialized tools either. We had very simple hand tools, and an angular grinder, and we needed to do one welding, which you can see described here. That was the most complex operation, I would say. And luckily, in the SEMA compound, there was a workshop, metal workshop, and they were highly skilled in metalworks, and they helped us to do this weld. But of course, it is possible to make this setup without welding equipment, but we thought that it was a rather critical part where we wanted to make sure that we didn't have any leakage. And we also had the both very friendly guys at the workshop and their expertise available just next to. So we decided to weld it and cut it like this. So you see, we cut it 45 degrees and turned it. So we got a very nice 90-degree chute, about 4 inches wide. You see on top there, you see the chamber, the kiln, and the exhaust or smoke chute connected to it. When I say connected, you can see the actual connections in the middle pictures here. To seal the connections, we used mud and sand, because again, we didn't want to be dependent on special equipment or special materials, because if you did it right, the clay and sand would do a good job. Sorry. So the rest of the construction is the actual distillation pipe, which we used a 2-inch metal pipe. A bamboo pipe will do the same job and is in most cases, I guess, easier to find. So you see in the lower part here that it has to be rather long, 4 to 6 meters. So if you use a bamboo pipe that is completely hollow inside, it will also work just fine. But since we had such good procurement people at SEMA who found these perfect pipes for us, we use them, of course. Yes. So as you can see here, you will see it better in the video later. We collect the wood vinegar. The smoke goes through the main chute, the main pipe, and over to the smaller one. Once the system starts flowing, during startup, the thinner, longer pipe is disconnected, and as the process has started properly, we will connect the smaller pipe and seal it with clay, and the smoke will flow out at the end of the pipe, and on its way it will be cooled down, and you will get the valuable fraction of raw vinegar into the plastic container here. And there is a small hole under the thin pipe which allows the liquid that is condensed inside the pipe to flow back and out and into the plastic container. So to load the kiln, as far as we know, you can use any type of wood to produce the wood vinegar. And we think and hope that you can use other types of biomasses too, but we will get back to that. So the principle is that inside the kiln, you make an air vent at the bottom to allow the gas to flow freely through the kiln. And you place the logs in different sizes going from smaller to bigger ones on top of that, and fill as much as you can. And then the lid is closed and sealed with the universal super material clay. The lower part here is an opening where the heat and the gas is allowed to enter. So when I say the heat, we make a fireplace outside the kiln, and we make like a small chamber so that most of the oxygen should be consumed before the gas is let into the chutes, because the pyrolysis process inside the kiln, it should be with as much heat as possible, but as little oxygen as possible. So we will see later that it's actually biochar is formed inside here, but in this case, biochar is just a useful byproduct. The actual product we want comes from the smoke or the gases that we distill. So, I mean, when it comes to making the fire, I mean, you have to be a bit creative and try to focus the heat towards the kiln and to make the heat not spread out as so much, because you will lose heat and you will consume too much more firewood than needed, because firewood is in most cases or in all cases a valuable resource that you shouldn't be wasting. Okay. Yeah, so this description here jumps a little bit back and forth. I just copied and paste from the manual that we will send to Sema afterwards. We wait, as you said, we wait until the smoke that comes out is brown and thick, and that's the sign that we can start to do the condensing phase and collect the raw vinegar. And the liquid, the raw vinegar that we collect in the plastic container, it has to mature to separate the 3 different fractions of the liquid, which you can see in the bottom illustration here. The tar and soot part will collect at the bottom, and the actual raw wood vinegar concentrate will collect in the middle, and there will be a layer of oil on the top. So for the useful part is the middle part, so you have to suck it out with a kind of pump when it's ready after the maturing phase. Okay, film, just a second.
Can we already shoot in with a remark, or should we take a discussion at the end?
Yeah, why not? Shoot. It's a good time before the film.
Now it's about the previous slide with the 3-phase system.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were at Singida, like 3 weeks after you, we already saw that this was largely completed. So the 90 days is very much slight. It's a bit down. This one, yes.
Yeah.
90 days is a bit on the long side, and yeah, if you really stick to that and need it already in your season, it can probably be reduced to a few weeks. And what we also saw is that you had been so neat in starting and stopping the wood vinegar distillation process that there was only a very thin layer of oil at the top and only some drops of tar at the bottom. It was really minimal. This gives a suggestion that it's really thick layers and it's a third of each, but it's really almost only wood vinegar if you do it as nicely as you did it together.
Thank you.
So I was suggesting oil sorbents or something to remove that oil, but when I saw in practice how little that was, you can even do it by floating a few tissues on top. And if you have thick gloves, you can just let these tissues dry and burn them, and you'll get rid of it. It's very minimal amounts.
That's good to hear. We had to leave before we could see how it's separated, of course.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
but it's good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Just a second. I go to full screen. You all see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
No sound.
Yes, we can see.
I'm sorry, I have to restart. Just a second.
There was no sound, Jan Olav.
Yeah. Sorry. Can you see the screen now? A black screen? Okay, here we go. Oh, yeah, there was. I'm sorry if it was not as smooth as the local screen here, but anyway, you got some glimpses, I hope, of how it looked when we were working there.
Very nice selection of the music you used.
Yeah, that's Shara's excellent choice there.
Thank you. All right, so we can go through the success factors and improvement. And I have to say, if I'm allowed to say it, the project was really successful. And we only had 5 days. I don't know if you said it, but we had 5 days. We arrived on Sunday, started on Monday, and then we had to leave on, I think, Friday evening. We left Singida. But yeah, the first batch was ready on Wednesday, I think. So we used really short time. But I believe personally that the #1 success factor is teamwork, and that it was actually really well planned. And the entire team understood the assignment, and we all had one common goal: to build a good distillery system. And when I say great teamwork, it's not only between me and Jan Olav. I also mean the support team here in Norway with Marianne and Petter, who have supported us, and also Gerhard. We had lots of meetings and workshops, reviews before going. I also mean the team in Singida. They were really eager to learn. They were interested in doing this all together. And also all the equipment were ready when we arrived. And I believe that it saved us lots of time. So we didn't have to use time to go and find equipment when we arrived. So yeah, I think that's the success factors. Yeah, I think that's enough. And then for the improvements, after we finished with the first batch, we had a meeting or a workshop again with the whole team, where we went through what we could improve for the next batch and how we could make it easier for other people, and what were our mistakes, what was success, what was good, what was bad. And we made some lists, and here is a short list of improvements. We can make the fire more, also make it smaller to make it more sufficient. We can also use the fire for other purposes, such as cooking. While we are doing this, we can make the shorter pipe even shorter, just to save some material. And as Jan Olav mentioned, we can use a bamboo pipe for the longer pipe, so we don't have to have metal for that one. We were also discussing if we could use other biomasses than wood to avoid cutting trees. So I think that's about that. If you don't want to add anything, Jan Olav.
We have some more, of course, some more in the full report, and some, and also some suggestions for follow-up projects and what should be investigated more closely. And so hopefully there will be some more interesting spin-off projects, and also some nice replications of or replications with improvements of the actual distillation distillation machine. What was it we called the machine on the way, or did we have the mean machine, or no? Yeah.
The Ferrari, you call.
The Ferrari.
I forgot one thing. It's the flexibility, because we were watching lots of videos, and me and Jan Olav were actually very flexible. So is the team. So we were not very square. I don't know the English word for it, but we were very flexible, and we were open to use other materials. Open to improvise. We didn't have to have exact same things. So I think that's also one of the success factors.
Yes, but I must say it was a great relief when we arrived there and everything was lined up and ready, and it was exactly the equipment we needed. And so it was like a weight from the shoulders. Then we knew that we could just go ahead and just enjoy the rest, because it was such a good foundation. And when we met the lead farmers that worked with us during the week, the chemistry between us, and the friendliness and openness was incredible. So it was really a great project to work with. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Yes, there are. We might have forgotten someone here in the thank you list. We for us it was really like an adventure, and all the professional parties involved made this a very easy job in a way, because it was well above any expectations we had before. We were prepared that things could go very wrong. There could be a lot of things missing, but everything was very smooth, and the SEMA staff and the lead farmers were really enthusiastic and smiling, and we really felt comfortable, and we knew that we could we had an open atmosphere where we could ask from each other and ask for advice, and that we were not the experts on this. We had done some studies before, but we needed the creative force of the rest of the people you see on this picture to be able to think and come up with the practical solutions. Because if you see the machine here, it looks like just a pile of mud or a pile of soil, but it is a sophisticated Ferrari. In a way. So of course the SEMA Foundation.
May I ask one more question about the Ferrari, or the bamboo Ferrari potentially?
Of course, go ahead.
Yeah, so the one thing is about this bamboo, which I think is an excellent idea. It's only, will it be as durable as a steel pipe, and will it not take fire with relatively high temperatures? I think is it just far enough away from the pyrolysis chamber so it will not take fire?
The temperature around the opening where the liquid would drip out was rather low. You could almost hold it.
Okay, that's
but
good.
of course that's a consideration you have to do between the length of the thick smoke chute. The longer the smoke chute is, the lower temperature you will have when you start the condensation pipe, but you will consume more material and it will be more expensive. But with the lengths that we used here, it was rather cold. So this is of course a guess that a bamboo pipe would handle that temperature well. But of course, once a bamboo pipe has been used once and soaked in raw vinegar and also the smoke and soot, we really cannot tell for sure how durable it will be. So
it's a bit corrosive, of
yeah.
course. But,
yeah. Mm.
I had
Great.
one other thing, but there was also another comment. If it's directly related to the bamboo, we should maybe take it before my other suggestion.
Inosh, I can see your hand is raised. Is it related to the bamboo? Go ahead, please.
Not really. Thank you everyone, and team engineers without borders for the wonderful presentation. I want to commend you for adapting this technology to the local resources and context. I think that's why it was easy to have it rolled down. I also like the fact that there is a double benefit, whereas the aim is to get the pest control material, but we are also producing some volumes of biochar, and so that can still be added onto the other component by NGI regarding biochar production. Just a few recommendations to probably us as Strome Foundation, and maybe a question to you regarding scaling up this. I know this is for now tied to the LCAP project, but we are, as Strome Foundation, we are looking at a bigger picture in terms of scope. Are you able to replicate the same technique in, say, for instance, Uganda or other regions? NGI sometime around next year, around June, will be having a summer school for biochar. Could we possibly look into that? Could we have discussions with them and see how we can extend this perhaps to the other areas? Of course, on our part, we also need to plan for it and have some resources prepared ahead of time. And I'm happy Lynn and Anna-May are here. So I think we can take this discussion elsewhere. But for me, I think that's a good idea that we could take to the other countries which are facing the same contextual challenges regarding agriculture. Then to SEMA, I know one of the key trainers has dropped off. What's the plan now to have that next person that is coming on board probably be in position to also train farmers or maybe the community facilitators to be able to deliver this skill. I really find it's still the initial stages, and the project officers are still probably will still need some 1 or 2 more, follow-up sessions to be able to deliver effectively on their own. So the next person that is coming on board, what's the plan to have him or her be able to catch up with the rest? But otherwise, I'm really happy that the training was delivered so easily with the local available materials, but also you get a double gain in terms of producing biochar and the pest control liquid. Thank you.
Thank you, Inosh. I'm not entirely sure who's the right person to answer follow-up training on onboarding of new people. I suppose that would be Alunas. What I can say for Engineers Without Borders' sake, like for replicating in other places, I mean, obviously that's a good idea, and then it depends a bit on for us having a local partner to work with, and etc., etc. But it's definitely something to be talked about further with the Strømme Foundation and NGI as well.
Sure.
And just to mention briefly, I think Jan Olav said it as well, we will forward the final report and 2 manuals on how to build and how to use the kiln. It's being finalized just as we speak. So by next week, we will send it to you, and we will also publish it on our webpage where it is accessible for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think Francisco's hand was raised just before your, Gerard. So go ahead, Francisco.
Thank you. Thank you, Mariana. Thank you for a very good presentation. Very interesting project. Yeah, planning has a lot to say, and congratulations for being so successful. I have a question more related to the HMS. Is that Norwegian? Is it English? HSE, health safety. I've been involved in my family. One of my brother-in-law produced, how do you say in English? Acid from pine. Yeah, same technique. Produce the fumes from burning the pine wood and then cooling them down. But with a bit of a further process, we were able to produce the acid that could lay down upon a glass, and then it will eat the glass and make it look like frost. But it was a major issue with the fumes because there are many components in those fumes. So is it such that at the moment when you collect the distillation, whatever fumes that may not have been liquefied or so, they are just left to expect to the air, so atmosphere, so it has to be well ventilated, or can, let's say, I'm sure there will be some part of the fume that will not be liquefied. And did the project consider something about dealing with them, or so, how toxic or how to do with it, or?
Yes, you're absolutely right. There is leftover fumes after the part that we want has been condensated, and in this project we did not consider analyzing the smoke or how to handle it. We made sure that it was a very well ventilated area and no people around the exit of the pipe. But we have had some very useful input from Gerard and NGI again on looking at different afterburners or propane-based burning of the leftover gases. Do you want to say? Do you have anything to share, Gerard, there that we can? Because we just saw your suggestion afterwards and thought that's a very good idea, and we made sure we included it in our report.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. I think it would be very worthwhile for a forthcoming mission to try to tackle the issue of local pollution, local air pollution when you make it, because it's actually not a good thing to have in larger scale. Yeah, so I know at a more high-tech pyrolysis unit in Drammen here, we have this propane after combustion. It only takes very little propane because you just need to ignite it. These gases in themselves are combustible. There's still quite a lot of energy in them. So you need only a little bit of propane to ignite them, and it can be a relatively simple system. So that's a perfect thing on a short assignment for a next team of engineers to find out and to take care that we have no local air pollution. So it is a bit of a discussion, I think, whether we already should spread this and build units in different places. I think for now the plan is to build 3 units in all these 3 districts, in Iramba, Ikungi and Manyoni. I think that can go ahead if we don't build them too close to houses where neighbors might complain. But it's a bit urgent to find a solution, and we can then equip those units with propane after combustion afterwards, I hope.
Or maybe just before reaching that stage of possibility, just to put a pipe there that raises the fume, the exhaustion of the fumes to a higher level above the roof of the house or whatever, such that the workers, the people around there will not be the least possible exposed to them. But very, very good.
It makes sense. Makes sense to make a long bamboo pipe high up in the air. So dilution is a solution to pollution. So until we have this after combustion, that's maybe a good idea.
Then it will not be a Ferrari, or it will be a new version of a Ferrari. Thank you. Very, very good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ferrari 2-0. Do we have any more questions or comments? We have a bit of time left.
No, I think we're fine. So yeah, also from NGI, I really want to give compliments to the engineers. I didn't think you would manage this in 5 days. Definitely not with the training day. And also thanks to Serma and Abel and team for streamlining this so well. And yeah, you already mentioned it, but it would be fantastic, of course, if we can. Instead of firewood, use sunflower or pigeon pea stems, both for the warming up and in the pyrolysis chamber. Yeah, that would help with the sustainability of the whole thing.
Thank you, Gerard.
And yeah, also that could be a scope, I think, of a coming mission. But already it could be tried out, I think, by Serma, how well this works with sunflower stems that are very abundant in the district. And then a very last remark also in reaction to what you said, Enos, you get a little bit of biochar from this, but it's really small amounts compared to the amounts of wood vinegar that you need. You don't need such large amounts because you dilute it 100 to 200 before spraying it on the crops. And the amount you get in this flame curtain kiln is so much larger that yeah, it's just a little thing. It's a tiny bonus, but it's really about the wood vinegar in these units.
That's correct.
Alunas.
Thank you. Thank you. If I may go back to Enosh's comments on cascading it to CBF and lead farmers. So the plan is with SEMA, we are going to install these distillation plants in the 3 districts. But going forward, we are planning, even when installing this, we want to develop some sort of a business model. So it's not going to be just a training. We train an SPG and they will contribute some sort of like the materials that are locally available, say this, the clay or in the manpower, so that we have them own it. And at the end of the day, they'll be in a position to produce these wood vinegars and sell to the community close to them at a cheaper price. So after now, when they see its effectiveness, we believe it will be cascading by itself with our support, mentoring them and helping those who will be interested to produce in other areas. So after installing these 3, other ones, they will be created as a business to these. So it will be an IGA to the SPG members. It's not going to be training just like the way we do for other interventions. That's the plan that we have with the SEMA.
Great, great.
Yeah, and the last little contribution that we will do as NGI is that my colleague Caroline also here has sent a sample that we took when we were there at the SEMA premises for analysis of PAHs. It's these carcinogenic nasty components, but they concentrate in the oil and in the tar, so we expect them not to be present in the wood vinegar. When we earlier did this in Zambia, they were below detection limits, but we have to make sure that this product is safe. So we will double check that also for the current sample.
Great. Thank you, Gerard. So I think with that, our time is up. Thank you, Shara and Jan Olav, for well-prepared and executed assignment, and Alunas and the entire team in Singida. Thank you so much for all your efforts in making this brief field visit success. So yeah, is it time to say Merry Christmas maybe, or is it too early? Normally we remind about the next digital presentation, but we don't have any set up before Christmas. This is now the last one for this year.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas,
Happy New Year.
everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.